Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into the YouTube channel. I'm out on the water today and scouting around. Got a guide trip coming up. And I was thinking about going over my popper setup, my rod reel line setup, how I like to fish poppers. Not necessarily any brand in particular, but your cup mouth chuggers that usually sit on the water at this angle, or some of them will be kind of tail weighted. There's a lot of different ones on the market, but this style of bait is the one I want to talk about in particular, or the setup, my rod reel line for fishing this type of bait. I've caught a lot of fish on poppers over the years. It goes back to my roots out on the West Coast, popper type baits like this, chuggers. There's, like I said, so many different types, are just phenomenal at catching fish. I like to think of this type of bait as actually a bait that I look for a target, a place, a position where fish should be sitting, and then I throw it there and try to draw that fish from the cover, draw that fish from the structure, whatever that position would be where a fish might be. And the reason I like this is because, or this type of bait, and why I feel like it's so effective, is because you can get some good action, some disturbance on the water with a bloobsh, or a pop, or a spit. You can just, depends on how hard you pull on the front of that bait, you can get some different types of commotion, but the bait doesn't move very far. So you can throw it next to a stump, a log, a little outcropping of grass, and just bloop, and just sit it there. Bloop, and it just sit it there. And more times than not, they're gonna explode on it when it's sitting still. But this is probably one of the larger types that they make. There's another one that's smaller, and more times than not, I'm going to throw the smaller one. But getting into the topic here, this is my setup. This is my setup for fishing popper type baits. I've got this Klein's Adventures bait safe. I drew this gentleman at a tournament, and he gave me a bunch of these. They're pretty cool for, you know, keeping the hooks out of the way and store them in a box. But anyways, this is my popper setup. So what I have here is a Phoenix Feather 7-1 medium heavy. And I would say you can kind of bounce back and forth between a medium and a medium heavy, because I feel like even with a medium, you're gonna have enough backbone to set the hook on those fish, because it's got little bitty treble hooks. And what I like to do is I like to go braid. I like to go with 30-pound test braided line as my main line. And of course, like with 97% of all my outfits or my setups, I've got a Bass Pro Shops Johnny Morris Platinum Signature Series reel, 8:3-to-1 gear ratio. It's kind of what I use for, about 90% of my fishing, the gear ratio as well. And so I'm going 30-pound test braided line. And then I like a piece of copolymer. Gamma makes a great, it's called Polyflex. And I like a section of about 18 inches to 2 feet. And it'll get shorter as time goes on. But I like to tie a loop knot. Right there, you can see my little loop knot. I like a loop knot because it gives the lure the ability to move around and get that directional change, and really kind of promote the action that's inherent with the way that they build these baits. So if you tie it directly, it gets a little rigid, a little stiff, and as you work it, it's not as free moving, it's not as sporty, would you say? And I just feel like you're gonna get more bites day in, day out with either a snap or a split ring, but I prefer a loop knot. And the reason I prefer the loop knot is a split ring, the weight of the split ring, or a snap, that because it's metal, it'll kind of run down like this. And then sometimes when you move the bait forward, it catches that front treble hook. You get a wasted cast like that. And the beauty of copolymer, get this untangled, is the fact that it'll sit on top of the water. Copolymer, like this Gamma, this is probably 14 or 17-pound test Gamma poly, copoly, and or Polyflex, I'm sorry. And it it will float on top of the water, and it has less of a tendency, unless you really chug it or bloop it, to catch that front hook like this and create a wasted cast like that. So that's why I prefer that. But it's May, and May is a great time to throw a chugger or a popper. You've got shad up there, you've got fry up there, you got a lot of little fish items up there that bass will prey on, and it's just a great size. Like I was saying, there's usually a couple different sizes available, and I prefer that top size right there. I feel like I get more bites on it. I've just caught more fish on it. So it's not that this one doesn't work. It's just that I get more bites on this little bitty guy. So that's my setup. Medium heavy. I like a medium heavy or a medium. And the reason for that, now the wind kicks up, got the camera going, is because if you use a heavier rod, you have a harder time with bait placement. There's not enough tip to really put that bait where you want it. And that's kind of what I mean by tip. Let me show you. And that's what I mean by tip. You see, I've got quite a bit of tip in there. And I like that kind of more parabolic. Now I've got myself in the pant leg. Like that more parabolic action right there. And then the copolymer acts as a little shock absorber too, so that you don't tear these little hooks out of the fish's mouth. But really, I just really like that setup. I feel like it works really well. I can throw it very easily because those poppers are a little light bait, and that feather will catch a wind or air, and so it'll slow it down. And so you need something to kind of, you need some sort of a tip to throw the bait. Let's try to show you. I don't know if you can see it out there, but I'm gonna just try to work it there. The way that I like to fish the poppers is pop, pop, and then stop. Pop, pop, and then stop. Pop, 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 and then stop. Pop. And usually your bites are gonna come when that thing is sitting there motionless. And one of the things that will happen with that popper is when you pause it, you'll be chugging it like this, and when you pause it, the bait will kind of go tail down, and that feather will open up like a tail on a fish. I feel like that really gets them. So you kind of be patient with a popper. A walking bait can be really good this time of year as well, but that's more of a cover water type presentation, where this is specific and pinpoint. Just a quick video on my setup for fishing poppers. May is a great time of year to throw it, and then all the way through summer for that matter. Fun way to go. I actually have thrown frogs more instead of poppers, and I know I'm missing some fish because I'm not getting my popper game on, as so to speak. I need to throw that popper more. Thank you for tuning into the YouTube channel. I certainly appreciate everybody that watches and comments and subscribes. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. And check out the description section. There's a link for my merch, Team Niggemeyer Fishing. Also, links to my social media, my website. And if you're interested in a pair of Amphibia eye gear, there's a 20% off discount code in there. Until next time, thanks for watching and good fishing.